What's up, guys? So in today's video we're going to be building this showcase area for a fiction light bulb company. So let's test it out to see how it works. So essentially we just have this hero section. You can decide to add more section if you want to, and you can also add a navigation section here too. I just decided to just come up with this as quick as possible. So if I toggle on to this, you can see that we have this light appears and this color changes to orange. If I toggle back, you can see that light goes off and this switches back to white. And the aim of making this video is to learn more about vanilla JavaScript. And these days I find myself doing it as I'm just starting out. I see more of React content than regular vanilla JavaScript, and I feel there are some beginners that don't know that much about vanilla JavaScript, and they want to know about DOM manipulation and stuff like that. Sorry about that. So they want to know more about vanilla JavaScript and how to manipulate the DOM and stuff like that. So if you are that person, this video is for you. So you learn how to manipulate the DOM and change things when you click on stuff. And as well, timestamps will be in the description as well as the GitHub repo too. So let's get right into the video. All right, guys. So right now I just brought in the images we're going to be using. So this will be for the bulb, I think. Yeah, the bulb, the lamp, and the light. I don't think we'll need this, but let's just leave this here. So these are the assets we need, and this is the click. We also need is an audio file, and lastly we have an index.html file which is empty, a script file which is also empty, and for this style.css I just brought in this font called Bonito. So you can go to fonts.google to grab these fonts and follow along, or you can just clone the repo and code along with me too. All right, and I have already initialized the Git repository. That's why you are seeing this M right here and this license too. So don't worry about that if you've not initialized. Okay, so let's begin by creating the structure of what we want to do. So first of all, I'll hold shift and hit this exclamation mark and hit tab to generate a boilerplate for our HTML code. And now I have to give this a title. So let's call this Bob. Okay. So we'll need three things right here inside this head tag. First thing is to first of all link it to our style sheet, and we also need to link it to our JavaScript too. So we'll say source should be script.js, and we'll add a defer to it. So what this defer simply does is that it prevents the DOM content event from firing up until the script has finished loading. And lastly, we'll just head over to font awesome CDN. Yeah, this one. and grab anyone you need. So we'll just copy the link tag, get rid of this and open this back. So let's just paste that before this and save. Alright, cool. So we can start writing our codes, and since it's responsive, I don't know if I showed that in the demo, but the website will be responsive. So we'll start from the mobile approach first. So let me bring this down, shrink this down. So okay. Alright, cool. So we want to start from the header first. So say header section, and we use the header tag and give it a class of header. And inside that header, we want a container, and we also need a class of deflex. So if you're wondering how I'm doing these shortcuts that is generating this code, is by using emmet. So this container is to basically contain files, so that when we try and make it responsive, it won't just get squashed to the side of the screen. We'll see that in a bit. While this display flex, I call it deflex, so right now it's not doing anything, but later in the CSS we'll add some styles to it. So, and now we're not seeing anything on our screen, so let's make sure we're seeing something. So let's just say h1 hello world, save, and let me open with live server. So open with live server, so we don't need this one anymore. Okay, so if you don't know what live server is, you can go to extensions and type live server. Yeah, this first one by Ritwik Day. So it allows you to launch a development local server so that you don't have to refresh every time you make changes to your code. Alright, cool. Now that we have that working, so we can get rid of it and get back to writing our code. So inside this, we'll need the logo and the toggle switch right here. So let's comment and write logo right here, and inside there we'll just have an anchor tag, should be a pound sign, and let's also give this a class of logo, and inside that also create a p tag, and let's call this bulb lights. But now we want the lights to have a different color, then we can just bring in a span tag and just paste it inside here. So now we have bulb lights. Okay, cool. So we can explicitly say the bulb should be one color and the light should be another color because of this tag we added right here. Okay, cool. Now we need to bring in the switch container. So we'll say switch container, and let's also give this a class of deflex, because what this will be doing right now. Oh, do we need this? I doubt we don't, because we will use this for the tool. Okay, let's just change this to switch. So we'll say switch wrapper. Yeah, so this will hold the switch button, which is that toggle you saw earlier right here. So the switch wrapper, will be let's say inputs, and we'll give this a type of radio, and let's also give this a name. Let's just call it theme. This can be called anything. Let's just call it theme, and let's give this an idea of off. Then we'll hold shift and alt, copy this down. It should be on, and inside this we bring in the span tag and give this a class of switch. Call this background. Yeah, this is what we want, and we'll do the same thing. We'll say shift and alt, then we'll change this to switch, then we'll call this one button. This will all make sense later on, but this is what we need right now. So this will be for the off, while this will be for the on. All right, so this name is what's making us to toggle between these two. So if I give this like a 1 right here, and I give this, you can see that I was able to toggle both of them. So this name is like grouping them into a collection so that they'll be under the same, they'll have the same parent name. I don't know if that makes sense, to enable us to toggle between them. Yeah, so this name is quite essential. All right, so cool. Now we need the showcase section. So we'll go outside of the header, then we'll say section, and let's just give this a class of showcase. And we also need a container. I think we also need another class, the same class of flex, dflex rather. We also didn't comment this, so let's just say showcase section. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I just like to comment stuff at most times to make my code more readable. And inside this, we'll just say this will be for the showcase showcase text. So inside there, we'll say give this a class of showcase text, and this underscore you are seeing is a method I use once in a while called bare method. So this is denoting by using these double underscores right here. And like I said again, this is optional. You can decide to do this like this if you want to. All right, inside this text, we need an h1. Let's get rid of this. So we say request your free energy today. Then we'll create another p tag and say is making the switch to let what's it. Let's find out. These are weird hard copies. So inside we also need a button, but we're going to use an anchor tag. So we say anchored and bring in a pound sign and give this a class button. Inside it, we'll use a font or some icon. That's why we brought it up right here. So that icon is FA solid, FA light bulb. Yeah, then we need a span that says learn more. Okay, yeah, so this is coming in right now, and inside this we have to bring in the images for the lamp. So we can close this out and say for the lamp we'll say the class should be showcase underscore lamp, and just for naming convention we just say showcase lamp. So like I said, we needed that click sound that we heard earlier on, so we'll bring in an audio tag, or we'll be using an audio tag. And before we give this, okay, let's put the source now. The source will be this click.mp3. Then the class should be audio, and you can decide to get any click track if you want to. Then inside it we also need two images. The first one will be for the lamp itself, and we'll give this a class called lamp. Sorry about that. Then this next one will be for light, and I think the images in look here. So this is all one. So the light is showing right now, but this white background is kind of covering it, so we see that in a bit. So now that we've structured our HTML content, let's go over to CSS and add some styling to it. So go to CSS, and right here we'll just say it should be called styles, and the call style is like a reset, so you can reset this to 0, padding should be 0, box size and should be border box. So this will get rid of the default margin and padding that the browser gives to us by default. And we'll bring in a root variable and say selector rather, and let's give this some color. So the background color will be 0E0E0E. Then we also need an accent color, which is a primary color. So this should be FE6204, more like kind of a dark orange. Then we need a white color, so we say FF. Yeah, so like as it is now, we've already stored the colors we're using, but we've not started using it right now. So let's get rid of some of the default styles. So first of all, we'll say this, we'll grab the anchor tag or anchor selector and get rid of the underline by saying text decoration should be none. Okay, then it should be display inline block, because it's displayed inline by default. Then the image should have a max width of 100% and should be display block too. And now for the body, we'll say the font family should be Nonito, or the fallback should be sans serif. Like I said, we use Nonito here, but you can change this to Poppins or whatever font you need. It's going to appear right here, as far as you changed it here too. So if you are changing it right here, you need to change it here as well. So if you can see that the font is kicking in, then we'll set the background color to this beige color and the color itself to white. So right now you can see this light color, but it's not aligning the way we want, which we'll fix in a bit. So all these are shoved right to the ending, but I can see now it's not responsive. So we need to bring in the container and say it should have a max width of 1000 200 pixels and should be center. Margin inline should be auto, so it should be center, left and right. Then the padding inline as well should be 1 rem, which will add space to it. So if we go to 1200 pixels, you can see that it's centering based on the max width we gave it, but it's no longer aligning or sticking to the ending of the browser, which is what we want. Cool. So what we need to do now is to go back to our index file and start styling the different sections. So we'll start with this header section. So we'll say header section, and this should be header, if I can spell correctly. So padding block should be 1.5 rem. So all these padding inline, margin inline, in case if it sounds new to you, these are called logical properties. So instead of using padding top, then padding bottom, so padding block serves for the top and bottom, then padding inline serves for the right and left. So that's how it works. Then since this is a background, I wanted to give this a background, but we'll just leave this as it is. But if you give this a background of purple, let's say brown, you can see the background and you can see that that padding is kicking in as we want. But we don't need the background. So what we need to do right now is let's bring this to this side before we start styling them. I think that should be better. So get the header. So we need to bring in the deflex. So we have multiple deflex, but the showcase has its own. The showcase has its own rather. Then this header has its own. That's why we are making sure it's a child of its parents. So we say display flex, then align items, center, then justify content, be space between to shove it or push, give it a space between them. So let's start styling the logo. So we say grab the logo and give this a font size of 1.5 rem. Okay, so let's go back to see. Okay, just decided to give this a color of white. Then let's just make this font weight, let's make it 600. Then what we have to do, like I said, these lights have to only to have the accent color. We just grab the header, then grab the logo, then I think what was the span tag we wrapped it around, yeah, yes. So give that a color of accent color. So this is what we need. So we are done with the logo. Next we need the switch, the toggle switch, or we can call this switch. So we say toggle switch. So ignore these lines. This, I was messing around with code. As you can see, I'm doing it a different way. That's why I'm getting all this. So it's not like a specific pattern. Alright, cool. So I can grab it, the switch wrapper now, which is this, and say switch wrapper. This should be double P, and let's give this a position of relative, because we'll be positioning some of these tags absolute later on. Then let's give this a height of 30 pixels. Yeah. Okay, so this height you will not see it in action, but if I add the background color of, let's say, Rebecca purple, you can see that it's looking like an animal already. But we are seeing this height right here. So let's just comment it out for now. Oh, okay, let's just get rid of it. So now we'll give this a height of 30 pixels. We need to now grab this input right here. So we can do that using this attribute. So we say input type equals to radio, not switch. Then we also want to give this the same width and height as we give the same width and height as we give this switch wrapper. So height should be 30 pixels. So now you can see that once we bring this back to the Rebecca purple, you can see that now we are getting the width and height of this, or the height rather is matching the height of this parent class, which is the switch wrapper. So as you can see, we're also having we're having the same values right here. So why don't we just call this size? And I'm doing this all wrong, so we can just go into the root variable. I just put size right here and say 30 pixels. So anytime I want to change, we just make the changes right here and it should apply. So let's see, here should be what the size. Here should be size 2 and here should be size. Alright, cool. And we also need this, we also need a pointer class. So let's just add, I said we need a pointer class. We also need a pointer property. So yeah, this is what we want. Now we need to bring in that background, that orange background we saw earlier. So we can do that by saying bringing in a switch background, as the name implies, which is this. So we say the background color should be the accent color, then the should be position absolute, then the height should be 100% of its parents, the width itself should be 100% of its parents, then left should be 0, top should be 0. Then we also need this a border radius, and the border radius should be, let's try this if it's going to work. Yeah, this is what we need. So we no longer need this Rebecca purple. Yeah, so this is what we want. Okay, and the pointer event should be none. You can not be able to click on this directly, except you have to click on the radio button, which we are going to see in a bit. Alright, cool. So what we need to do right now is to bring in the button, which is that round bulb that you saw swinging from left to right, like the on and off button, which is this right here. So we say the switch, let's say switch button, and inside it we also want to give this a position of absolute, because this is the parent right here, which we give position of relative. So anything we give position of absolute will be relative to this, so it shouldn't go outside this, it should be relative to this parent. And also let's give this a left of 3 pixels, top of 2 pixels. I've tried these values before, that's why I'm just bringing them. Then the right should be, let's just say 100%. And we don't want to give it the same width as this parent so that it shouldn't take the entire height. So we just say the height should be 25 pixels and the width should be 25 pixels. You will see it here until we add a background color of white. And let's also make this border radius of 50% to make it a complete round shape. So you see what I'm trying to say. If we increase this to like 30, now it's going to be bigger and it's taking more than the height. So this is what we want. And while we're there, for us to get that switch when we click between this, we need it to fade in or go in a smooth transition. Let's just add a transition to it and say all 150 ms easing out. Alright, cool. But as you can see now, it's not working as we want. For it to be able to work, we need to add, remember we gave this a ID of on and a ID of off. So right now is at its off state by default. So we'll say if this on is checked, then we'll bring in this tilde sign. I'll explain what this is a bit. And tab 9 is giving me autocomplete. So before I write the properties inside, we're saying if the on is checked, look for the next sibling selector. So this tilde sign right here is used to select a sibling selector, the next one. So if this is checked, which is this on right here, look for the next. So don't look for this, look for this. So after this, look for the next sibling selector. Assuming it was this one that is checked, it's going to look for this background. So since this one we are checking on, it's going to look for this button. So after it's looking for this button now, what do we want to do? We want to add a left position and give this 36 pixels. So it should move 36 pixels. So you can see right now, so when we click on this, it's going left. When we click on this, it's going right. And this smooth transition is happening because of this transition right here. Alright, cool. Now that we've done that, let's move on to the showcase section. So we'll say showcase section. So first of all, we'll grab the showcase. I think we'll call it showcase here. And also we have the flex. And say this should be display flex, not block flex. So we need this to be at the bottom. So if we say flex direction should be column, it's up, but we need it under. So say column reverse. So it's going to bring it under, which is what we want. And this lamp is quite big. So what we have to do now, let's just say guess this showcase underscore lamp and get the actual lamp. And let's bring down the size. So let's say 150 pixels, yeah. Then it should be centered. So margin inline of auto, yeah. But this light is not aligning as we want yet. So what we need to do is to grab the light. So I say showcase lamp and get the light. So now we give this a width of 400 pixels. Then the margin, let's just copy this right here too. Then we'll give this a position of relative. can add the top of -2 rem because we want to manipulate it. That's why we're giving this a position of relative. You can also use translate if you choose to. So right now it's going up, but it's on top of this, so we need to push it back. So we can do that by saying the z-index should be -1. So it's back there. Then you can set the left, just say -0.4 rem. Okay, this is more like it. Let's also let's also remove the opacity. So make the opacity to be 0 for now, so that when this is on, if I refresh this now, fall back to off. So when this is on, the opacity should be 1. So we should also add the transition opacity 0.2x easing. So for the lights, we'll add this class. So as you can see, if I want to add the active state to it, letting us know that this should be for the JavaScript, that's why I'm using these two together, and I'm using a camel case right here. So say if these have a class of show lights, then the opacity should be 1, else the opacity should be 0. Okay, now let's style this text right here. So say showcase text, and let's say showcase underscore text. Then we'll say the transform should be translate, let's say -10 rem. So to push it up, like I said, you can also use position relative if you choose to. So the width should be 100%. Then text align should be center. Let's also give this a z-index so that it should be on top of the light when we click, when the light is on. So also need to start the showcase text, and let's start the h1. So we say the font size should be 2.2 rem, the line height should be 1.1, margin bottom should be 0.5 rem. Okay, I'll also need to add a native class to it too, so that when the light is on, this color should change to this dark orange color. So we say color should be this accent color right now. So you can't see that, but if I do it right here, let's say class should be active. So you can see it's coming in, but we want to do that from JavaScript directly. So let's go back to this, and also while we're there, we should just copy this and also add the transition to it. So alright, so now we need to style this button. I think we'll give it a class of button. Yes. So see, the margin top should be 1 rem. So if you are still using the logical properties, I think for margin top, I think it's called margin block start. Yeah, for the top, margin block start. Or you can see the default to use margin top. It works fine. And I don't know if there's difference between the two, so you can let me know in the comment section, but so far I've not really noticed a huge difference between both of them. So the background color should be accent color, the color itself should be white. Yeah, so we'll give this a border radius, let's just say 0.5 rem. Okay, cool. let's add the padding. So we'll say padding, the top and bottom should be 7 rem, right, left and right should be 1.5 rem. Cool. Then let's just make this text capitalized. I choose to make it bold if I want to. Let's just do that. Let's say 600. Okay. Okay, so far this is what we want. So let's try to make it responsive for bigger screens. So let's just open this down and bring this back. So say media query, and see as media, then we say mean width. So let's use 768. So mean width means from 768 pixels and above, which I believe should start from somewhere around here, but it applies from somewhere around here down to the entire browser. So we'll say the container now. We'll increase the padding inline to, let's just say 4 rem. So you can see that this kicks in much further. And let's say the showcase menu. Did I call it showcase menu? Showcase section. So we say that should be showcase, and grab the deflex. Remember we added some stuff right here for the showcase. So we'll see quality again now. The flex direction this time should be row. Then the align items should be center. Justify content should be space between. Then the height should be just 100%. So let's see. Okay, cool. So far so good. Yeah. So now we need to grab the showcase text. I will set the transform translate x. So let's say 4.5 rem, and text align, because this right now is centered. So text align should be left. And we also need to give this a max width of, let's say 600 pixels. Okay, cool. Don't know why this is not following the structure, which we'll fix in a bit. Let's keep on going for now. So the showcase text, let's grab the H1 and say the font size should be 2.5 rem. To make it big. Then for the lamp itself, I think, let me just make this bold bigger. So for the lamp itself, grab the lamp and say the width now should be 200 pixels. So position relative, and top should be -6 rem. Then the z index should be -1. So let's see what we have so far. Okay. Now, I know I'm not saying the lights here, but let's just add this class down. So we say showcase, then grab the lights and add the top of -6 rem, so it doesn't get all squashed up. Alright, but the only issue now is that this is not aligning the way we want. So let's see why that is the issue. I don't have a class. Okay, I have a class of showcase. Okay, so this should be Y, not X. Yeah, so this should be Y. That's why it didn't work. Alright, cool. So this is what we want. Then we need to start adding functionality to it. So let's head back. Let's bring this down. Let's also bring this. So say alright, so let's go to our script tag. And the first thing to do, since we'll be manipulating the DOM, we need to grab most of the selectors from our HTML file. And since we've already linked this, that will be possible. So get rid of this style. So first thing to do is to, let's just call this one on switch. Like I said, I'm terrible at naming things, so go easy on me on the comment section. So get the on the on ID, so which is this one. So you can do it by saying document just create selector, then use the pound sign, or you can use on that one called get element by ID, but I just like using query selector. And if you're using the query selector, make sure to use the sign, but if you're using the get element by ID, you don't need to add this sign right here. So the next one is to get the radio buttons. So we say radio buttons, the document or create selector all, because we are grabbing more than one. So the class was the switch wrapper, then the input. So we can just say switch, if I can spell switch wrapper, then the input. Alright, so next one is to get the lights. Say document create selector and bring in the lights. Alright, cool. So we don't know if this is working yet, so let's just console log something to see if we are on track. Let's say hello world again. Hello world. Alright, so we are cool. If you don't know, I'm using an extension called Console Ninja, so it saved me the stress of opening my DevTools every time. So if you need it, go to your extensions and just look for Console Ninja. Right here, so this is the one right here. So by default, it shouldn't work with vanilla JavaScript, but it's working fine, which is quite weird. But it works fine with React and other frameworks and languages. So now that we have that up and running, all we have to do now is to create two functions. So it's good to like break down the code of what you want to do. So the first function we want to create is that when we enable this light, we need this to pop on, we need this to turn on, and we also need this text to change. And when we disable it, we need this to go off and we need this to revert back to this white color. So we need two functions. The first function will be function to enable lights. It can be anything. So let's just call this enable light. Should be an arrow function. So we can say light.class list.add, and I think we called it show light. So if this is enabled right now, it's not going to work because we have not called this function yet. So but if the light is enabled, we are going to use this method right here to add this show light class we define in our style.css. where is it at? Yeah, this show light class here. So we're going to add it. We're going to add it to our light variables, to our light variable rather. Then what we need to do is to get the h1. So I could bring that in, but you can also store that in a variable here, but let's just do it right here. So we'll do the same thing, class list or add, and this time we gave it active now, right? For the active. And lastly, we also need to play that audio when we enable and disable the lights. And you can also have two audios, one to enable the lights and one to disable the lights. I don't know why you would have that, but it's still possible if you want to. So we'll do the same thing and say document, query selector. Then we give this a class of audio. Then you can append a method of play to this. Yeah. So this should play the audio when we click on it. So like I said, we've added a function to enable the light. So what we just do is to copy this, and this should be to disable the lights. So we'll say disable lights. It should be disenabled or disable. Deja vu is happening right here. So right now we just need to remove and just remove. But this should still have the play method, because we still need the audio when we disable the light as well. Alright, cool. We're almost done. So the next thing is to create the actual function to on and off the lights. So we can see that by grabbing the radio buttons and say for each of the button, what we need to do. So add an event listener to listen for a click event. Passing an arrow function right here. You can still choose to break this down into a separate function if you want to, but I don't really see the need. So now we need to check if this button, if this input was clicked or if this input is clicked, to enable what we want right here. So do that by saying if, because it's off by default, so we need to grab hold on this on ID right here, which we already stored in a variable. So say if it's on switch just checked. So we're trying to say that if this is checked, then we need to enable the light. So we need to call this function we created right here. Then else, we just need to call in the other function. So now if we click on this, you can see that this right here is coming in, and if we click on this again, it's going out. So if we open this right now, click on this, it's coming in, click on this, it's going out. So you can still choose to decide what you want to do with it. So you can say if you're on the desktop view, you can decide to make this white and not change it to orange. That depends on you. But that is about it. Hope you learned one or two things in this video, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments, or if you have any corrections. I'm free to listen to all of them. And I also want to thank the 14 subscribers I have. I really appreciate you guys for subscribing to my channel. So do well to watch this video if you found this video helpful.